Hey YouTube, it's definitely been a while on this little engine, but finally getting back on it. If you remember last time, we had diagnosed the ignition coil as being bad, so I went ahead and picked one of those up. But yep, we've already rebuilt the carburetor and stuff. So basically now we're just putting it back together. I still got to run out and get engine oil for it, but ready for starting out. You notice that this coil has the little boot on it, and this one does not. So let's go ahead and swap this out. And a good little trick to get these back in the boot, especially without having to take these off, is use dielectric grease and put the dielectric grease over the end of the boot and then slide it in. So actually mine is out my car, so I'll be right back to get it. Alright, went and found my grease. So you definitely want to use dielectric grease because anything else may end up allowing the spark to go back through and ground out somewhere else and not let the full power of the spark go to the spark plug. But and this applies if you're putting any one of these any kind of rubber boot on like this. If you get a new end to go on the ignition coil and you're wondering about how to do that, either you can crimp it on the outside, grease it, and then put it through, or you can put a little bit of grease on this cable here, run it through, crimp it, and pull it back in place. Either way, but if you try to do it without lubrication on this, it's near impossible. It'll definitely make you lose your patience. See how easy it makes it? A lot better. Okay, wherever you're putting your ignition coil on, 9 times out of 10, if you look, now this one says this side out. A lot of times it'll say cylinder side, and this one actually says both. So right here it'll say CYL side, so this side faces the cylinder, just like that. Of course, here's your kill switch wire, which will ground the primary coil, and it hooks right here. So next, I want to show you how to set the air gap on these. And what I like to do is turn it around to where the magnetic part of it is facing the coil. So that way, whenever you go to put it on, the magnet will actually help pull the coil into the flywheel, and it'll just increase the possibility of it seating in that much more. So let me get something to set the air gap with. Alright, I believe what I'm going to use is just a thick piece of cardboard. I think they actually make a air gap setting tool, and I'm not even going to try to quote what the air gap is actually supposed to be set on, because I might be way off. So but everybody has a thick piece of cardboard, or if you have thinner paper, you can double it up, whatever. But I also do it like this because like I say, everybody's got this, but not everybody's got that air gap tool to actually set the air gap. So it's not as critical as you might think, but you do want to get it even on both sides. And so yeah, it's pretty lenient. So cylinder side, and like I say, you just want to put your cardboard in there, and you'll feel the magnet clamp down on it. So you'll scoot it over. And I think these are 6mm, but we will see. Before I get too far ahead of myself, let me go ahead and put this kill switch wire on, because this one is a little hard to get to compared to the rest of them. then that kill switch wire just goes on that little tab I was showing you earlier. Nothing to it. There we go, finally got it. Just snug it up. You definitely don't want to tighten these too tight, because if you strip those out, they are a major pain to try to repair. And after you get it out, alright. And then after that, you just want to kind of check the clearance and make sure it's even. And also, what you want to watch out for, I'm thinking it's Honda, but I can't remember for sure, or maybe Tecumseh. But let's see. Yep, right in here is the magnetic part. You have to watch. On some of them, the flywheel is not completely round. It'll have like a step on it. So sometimes, if on some engines, you gotta be careful, because you'll end up setting your air gap, and then you'll notice if you turn it, there'll be a raised spot in the flywheel, and then it'll strike your ignition coil. So on those engines, you actually want to set your air gap by the high spot on the flywheel. Alright. Now you remember our test before, our spark test. So now let's see if we can get anything better out of it. If you remember in our last video, we didn't have, I don't think we had anything at all. Can't remember for sure though, because the video was a while back. Done a lot of jobs in between since then. Alright, now let's see our result. That's on. Let me zoom in. I don't think we can see it right there. There you go, you can see a little bit. Alright, so we have verified spark, so now let's finish putting this thing back together. It's been apart for a while too, so hopefully I don't have to stumble around here for heck and ever trying to find all the parts for it. So your little, I think they call us, I believe it's just regular spacer. I think they used to call them phenolic spacers or something like that. But basically what this does is it just isolates the carburetor from the engine block, so you don't get the vapor lock. You know, you don't want the gas to boil inside your carburetor, because then it won't run until it cools down. So this goes up here, and then you've got a little dampener spring, and the little spring will hook into the small hole, and then the throttle connection will hook into the hole with the plastic insert in it. So, and if you ever go to, a lot of people have trouble with hooking up the governor linkage and throttle linkage and stuff, the best way to do it is just take the carburetor off, put it on, and then put the linkage on with the carburetor off. Because I've tried to put the linkage on with the carburetor on. You can, but you usually have to bend it and stuff, so your preference. And without this little spring on here, usually what I see happens is the throttle will kind of surge, or because what the spring does, it just takes out the slack in between the throttle linkage. So, this little spring is not happy about going back in here evidently. Or it just knows I'm trying to film it and it just will not cooperate. Either way. There we go. Alright. Alright, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to put a little bit of sealer on this gasket. You know, not the best thing to do, but if you do go to try to seal something that may come in contact with a little bit of gas vapor, you know, of course, silicone, once silicone comes in contact with gas, you know, the gas dissolves silicone. So if you go to use anything like, say, on you know, two-stroke engine cases, putting those back together or something like this, use the I think it's the ultra gray, and it's supposed to resist gasoline better. So I normally wouldn't even use that, but I know as soon as I don't, that'll be when I have an intake leak. Oh yeah, it's just drip everywhere. Alright. So now, get a spacer, and we'll put this in here. And slide our little spacer in. Or isolator, I should say. Isolator, insulator, spacer. Something like that. Crankcase ventilation tube out of the way. I think I got the world's loudest condensation pump on my AC unit. 10mm on these. And when you know it, my throttle linkage decided to try to jump out there at the last minute. Guess I didn't want to have any part of it, did it? There we go. We might get it back together today. My video don't end up being 5 hours long. This little engine will be used on a, it's got a gear reduction on the back of it, and will be used on a pesticide pump for one of my customers. Alright. Verified that the linkage moves, and I believe we're in good shape, so we will so go ahead and stick our spark plug back in. Oh, it's kind of easy accessible. And I believe that's 5/8. Yes, I actually got one right. Can't remember how that spark plug wire ran, so we'll wait until our covers are on before I run it, and it ended up being the wrong way. Alright. Somewhere around here, once upon a time, I had a gas tank for this. I see it. Alright. And I'm thinking that, yeah, under these bolts. Yep. Gas tank bolts got the shoulder on them, so you don't tighten them too tight and distort the plastic. Alright, we'll grab a, it should be alright without a clamp. I don't think it had a clamp on it when I took it off, so, oh yeah, it's a nice fit. That's our fuel line. We'll slide our crankcase breather tube back in there. Alright, now, it's starting to look like an engine again. Back this up here a little bit. Yep, all that's in order. There's our blower housing. Yeah, I know I'm right in the way. Lighting's awful, but I'll put a little bit of oil down in here just to help lubricate it. That's one thing that's overlooked quite a bit because these blower housings usually get left out in the elements, and they'll just over time they won't retract and stuff, and it eventually breaks. I know most of my videos are pretty lengthy, and I don't know if you all like that or not, but I guess some people do, some people don't. Some people like me to go into a very fine detail on stuff, especially if they're doing it themselves, and then some people, just don't. So. Oh yeah, it's a lot smoother now. So. Camera up here a little bit. There we go. figure it out here in a minute. Gotta be careful how you run your spark plug wire, because you don't want a hole vibrating in it. Like I say, anything I can, if y'all want to leave comments. I know I don't have a lot of views or subscribers yet. I hope I get more, but anything I can do to change my channel or improve it, or if I try to go in there and answer everybody's questions that they give me on stuff, but if there's anything that y'all would like for me to work on or discuss or anything, just let me know and I'll see if I can do it. I usually don't have time to post a lot of videos just because I stay so busy, but it's going to be in the way a little bit. Trying to make it to where it clears the throttle linkage. You definitely don't want that to hang wide open. Make for a bad day, but alright. We also have a little gasket that goes right here, so let me find the bolts for this. Still in the shop. And I know my camera angles are probably going to be killing y'all. I know when I watch a YouTube video on something, the camera angle's not good. It's kind of just want to get on there yourself and move the camera, but for them. Also think about taking some of these lengthy videos and making time-lapse videos out of them. So I've got a 5R110W Ford transmission I've got to rebuild. Thought about doing the time-lapse with it, but I may not film it at all. And also have a 318 engine I'm building. Definitely want to do a time-lapse video of it. So. This gasket, and if you notice on the intake housing, air cleaner housing, whatever you want to call it, there's two tabs on it, and if you look on your gasket, there's two small holes, so you got to line those up. If you don't, it'll be off a little bit, so you'll make sure it's lined up. Sixteenths on this. taste ventilation tube. Put it back up in there. It's starting to look like an engine again. I think I already said that once though, didn't I? Put that through there. Drop the air filter on it, the new one of course. Didn't even punch out the hole for this one. Just did. So I've got to hunt up my air filter nut, but well, she's pretty much back together unless there's just something I'm forgetting. I want to check the oil in it. I got to change the oil in it, but I think there's enough in there where I should be able to start it. Yeah, we'll check the oil, put some gas in it, and I'm going to do an actual first startup on camera, so, you know. Alright, so I just got back and, you know, finished draining the oil. Put fresh oil in it, check the oil in the gear reduction unit, and put gas in it. So, hopefully, everything's right and it starts up within a couple pulls. But, we'll see. No, that was the first startup of it, so I'm pretty pleased with that. You know, idle's great, runs full throttle great and everything, doesn't surge or, you know. I believe this one's good to go, so alrighty, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.